Good?
Yeah, he's saying go, 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 go.
Right. Welcome back to the Acoustic Shop channel. I am John, here with Jeremy doing a very special unboxing. You know why? Because that's what we do. It is something big. This is the ultimate Tony Rice guitar clone shootout. Of the things that when I finally saw the picture that I was most impressed with, this Sunburst. This looks original, it looks right.
If that isn't love. Well, that's the mule Skinner Blues.
Hope you guys enjoy it. This is Alan Bybee in Grasstown.
My name is Alec Beshin.
I took that idea, kind of built on it layer by layer. It kind of sounded like and reminded me of some of my influences, so I called the song Borrowed.
Hey guys, it is New Guitar Thursday. Glad to be with you on Thursday. It has been a weird day today.
Welcome back, it's Takeover Tuesday. I'm so happy to have you back here at the Acoustic Shop.
Mask on.
What's going on, guys? I decided this time I'm just not going to play the riff, you know? Maybe this is the time where the intro riff to the show just finally ceases to be. Or maybe we just create a new one. Maybe we'll do that right now. Let's see. Let's workshop a couple of new licks. Let's see. I know this one. Ooh, that's catchy. I like that. No, guys, we're here today because I wanted to talk a little bit about buying guitars for others, okay? Now, specifically, there are a lot of people out there that are probably going to be buying some gifts for beginner guitar players out there. I know a lot of you guys out there are probably pros. You're probably a bunch of advanced, extremely good players, and you know everything about guitars. That's perfect. we love those guys, but we gotta watch out for those beginners out there too. You gotta start somewhere, right? And really, I think that a lot of our viewers, and even if you're not a regular viewer, maybe you know, if you are a regular viewer, you could send it to someone who isn't a regular viewer, and hopefully, you know, give someone some ideas for buying a guitar for a beginner or for someone else in general. It doesn't have to be a beginner, but I just wanted to go over 5 main points and main things to look out for when you go to a guitar shop of any kind. It doesn't have to be us. I'd prefer it if it was us, to be honest with you. I'd prefer if you were asking me these questions, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be me. It could be anyone out there, I'm hoping. So the number one thing I think that you should look for when buying a guitar for someone else, or even if it's for yourself, just shopping for guitars in general, is playability, okay? I think that's the notice your elbow, okay, Trent? Poor guy. I think playability is extremely important when it comes to buying a guitar. Now, what is playability? What does that mean? Okay, now, what I mean by playability is how easy or difficult is it to play an instrument, okay? That's what I mean by playability. You want to look at several different things, okay? You want to look at how high the strings are off of the fretboard, all over the fretboard. You know, typically the 12th fret or halfway, you know, in between the strings, the nut in the saddle here is a good place to look. But you want to look at how high that string is off the fretboard there. Because, to be honest with you, I started a beep over there. We beeping? We still online? We good? Okay, cool, we good. I heard a beep, and you never know. I don't know how any of our camera equipment works, so if I hear a beep and I've never heard it before, I think something's wrong here, okay? But no, sounds like we're good. So playability-wise, what to look for is how easy is it to push these strings down, okay? Now, I will say that Eastmans in general here are very medium, you know? It's hard to be more or less medium because you're right in the middle, right? But these, I would say, aren't too high, they aren't too low. They keep them in the middle because setup and playability really is a subjective thing, okay? What could be easy for you might be very hard for someone else, and vice versa. What's up?
Is there a specific string height that you recommend for beginner at the 12th fret?
Oh boy. To be honest, I don't know if I could give an exact measurement. I would say if you are between 2 millimeters and 3 millimeters, that's a pretty good spot to be in. I would say a lot of well set up guitars from the factory, they're gonna be in like a 2 to 3.5 millimeter point, okay? 4 starts to feel pretty high, I think. Again, that's a personal thing, right? Setups are personal, and it's gonna differ, you know? The person you're buying the guitar for, or if you're buying it for yourself, they might prefer a lower setup, they might prefer a higher setup, you know? That might be a question you might need to ask them, or if they've ever talked about that before, that's something to kind of keep in mind and listen for when they talk about those things, right? So, that is, I think, one of the most important things to look for is playability, okay? I would say that is a very, very important thing to look out for. So the next thing I think you should look out for is value and budget, okay? So you wanna have a budget in mind, and I think that most like decent beginner guitars are going to start kind of in that $300 price point and up. So I would say it's realistic to think that you're gonna spend probably around $300 to $500 on a beginner guitar. What's up, Pinkley? What do we got?
How much is a typical setup?
I'm sorry, to do a full setup?
How much is a typical setup?
Well, it depends on what they're doing. So I would say to do a setup on a guitar, you're looking at probably, you know, as low as $50, as high as $75. It depends on what they're doing. For us, we do full setups for around $65. We're right in between that, okay? And what we tend to do in a full setup is we check the neck, We adjust the neck if needed. If there was a specific as far as string height, you know, that would mean the saddle needs to get worked on, which is this guy down here. So this one on this guitar, this is still very high, so we have quite a bit of room to lower it. Now again, that's very tricky because if you go too low, you will have too low of an action and the playability will be off. And you'll likely get a lot of buzzing, you'll likely get a lot of other issues that come with being too low. So, you know, it's realistic to think at least $50, upwards of $75. Some places might even do a full advanced setup for $100. And that's something that you could give them specific measurements that they're looking for. What's up?
Specifically, somebody to follow up on that is asking if we do that.
Oh, gotcha.
Something is a bit too high. Can Liz or someone here?
Absolutely, yes. Now, I will say to people out there that are ordering guitars from us, typically we can do a, you know, a quick setup once we get it out the door. If you know that you prefer a lower setup or just a lower string action overall, typically we can do that for you before it goes out. However, if it requires, you know, quite a bit of extra time, quite a bit of extra work, we do charge $65 for a full setup on those. So back to the point here. We were talking about value and budget, right? So I would think if you are shopping for a beginner or someone who's just getting into it, I genuinely think that a $300 baseline budget is a good place to start. Now, I think that because when you are buying a guitar for a beginner, you want to get something that is nice enough quality to last them for a long time, right? And you also want to get something that they are excited to play, right? Now, I will say there have been lots of guitar manufacturers out there that offer something around $100, something around the $150, $200 price point. Oh gosh, look at these guys coming in here, crashing my show. It's my show, guys, come on. John and Jeremy are here. They're doing some very, very important work. I don't want to bother them, and they don't want to bother me, I assume. They will bother me, though. They just bother me, okay? Let me just say that on the air, okay? They bother me, okay? Okay, back to my point here. So, you want to get something that is, you know, nice. You want to get something nice, right? You want them to be excited about it. You want to be excited about it, whether you're buying for someone else or for you. You want to be excited to play that instrument, right? And I'd say the $300 price point is a good baseline to think of a decent, nice instrument to start out on. You can find instruments cheaper than that. I will say most of the time, definitely more than half of the time in my experience, they require some extra work to feel nice to play, sound nice, etc. So, you know, if you're just trying to get away from some extra costs down the line, if you are just trying to save a little bit of money, that's okay. Just check it, right? So when you go to a store, make sure you talk to the people there. That's very important, right? You definitely want to make sure that you ask the questions, you know, like this, like what is the playability like? Even if you don't play, I think it's important if you ask someone, what does this play like? Give me your genuine opinion of how this actually plays, right? And then listen back to it, see what they say. Because there are a lot of salespeople out there that will probably just agree with everything that you're gonna say. And I think that's an important thing to look out for, right? Now, if you can't play and you're buying for someone that can, these questions are going to be very important to ask. And you definitely need to listen and hear what the salesperson is telling you, right? Because they are trying to give you, you know, the best option for what you're trying to get, right? So if value and budget is in your, you know, in your mindset there, starting at around $300, I think that's a good spot, right? Upwards of $500, that's definitely pretty dang good, I would say. There's lots of great options out there. Now, as far as in the store here, we do have quite a few options that start at around $300, upwards of $600. That really gets you some really nice instruments that I think would be lifelong, great quality instruments, right? So, moving on from that, I think that's plenty to talk about as far as that goes, because I don't want to take up too much time, but I definitely want you to be thinking about those things if you are going to a guitar shop and asking these questions, okay? So, the next thing I want to talk about are, and these aren't in any order, I should say, aesthetics, right? If you're buying for someone else, what do they like, right? What do they like to look at? Because if they don't like looking at the guitar that they have, they probably don't want to play it very much. And I would say that definitely in starting out, aesthetics play a huge part in it. That's really what kind of motivates people to, you know, want to keep playing and want to feel excited to play their instrument. And I think aesthetics do play a big part in that. And so many manufacturers out there are going to give you so many different options as far as looks go. You know, you have natural looks. You know, if you are, you know, pretty traditionalist and you just don't really like that a guitar has paint all over it or dye all over it, that's great. Most manufacturers are going to offer something like that, you know? If you do like something that has a little bit of stain or a little bit of dye to it that kind of gives it an interesting look, or like a sunburst, or even a completely different color altogether. We have blue guitars even in here sometimes, and those are beautiful. You know, they're all valid, I think is the important thing to note here, is that all of those are valid and they will appeal to someone, right? So that's an important thing, especially when you're shopping for you and when you're shopping for someone else. So pay attention to what they like. Make sure you know their favorite colors too, because that will play a part in it too. Did we have any other questions or anything? Okay, cool. Just making sure, because I know you came over here in my eyesight. I was just making sure. So another thing that I want to go over, solid woods versus laminate woods, okay? Now this is extremely important because most manufacturers out there offer, you know, some solid wood options for quite a bit of money and some laminate options that are quite a bit less expensive, right? Now, I think that there is a huge tonal difference between laminate woods and solid woods. Now, when I say laminate woods, for those that don't know, these are thin pieces of wood that are plied together and glued to make one piece of wood, basically. And I think that, again, like I would say most manufacturers these days, especially in acoustic guitars, in that you know, lower level price point, in the 300 plus price point, you will find most of them to be laminate sides and back. Not necessarily a bad thing. There are pros to it. I personally think that solid woods transmit the sound better. I think that you get more resonance. I think that you get more volume. I think that it just overall the tone is richer with solid woods because, you know, you don't have a more dense piece of wood for that sound to transmit, bounce around inside the box, and come out the sound hole. Now, laminate woods are not necessarily a bad thing. I don't want to make you think that you should not buy laminate sides and back by any means. There are some pros to that. Sometimes they are more durable overall, you know? I mean, sometimes those types of guitars might last a little bit longer. They aren't as prone to cracking, you know? So those are some things that, you know, make pros for that. Now, in the Eastman level, I will say, I want to make an example here. So, like for instance, we have these two here. Eastman's a good company, and honestly, it spoils us quite a bit because really, these two guitars, besides the very blatant color difference, are very close to each other in specs, all right? There are some big differences. Obviously, price. This starts at around $350. This starts at around $579. So we're kind of getting to that upper, you know, lower end price point there. You know, we've already exceeded our $500 budget here, right? But I think that that little extra money goes a long way with something like this because this is all solid sides and back here. This is solid sapele on this. Now, that's... What's that? Oh, yeah, okay. So yes, we do have a video that John and Jeremy, or was it just John? Okay, John and Jeremy both did a video on this, and I highly recommend watching it because those are the guys that have been teaching me all of these things, and I highly recommend watching it just because they definitely know what they're talking about and go into a lot more detail than I will right now. So again, I don't think it's necessarily bad to have laminate sides and back. That's a good way to get to cut the price on a guitar, to be honest with you. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing because they still sound very good. You just need to know what to look for. Again, if you pick a guitar like this with a solid top, which is also a big deal, laminate sides and back, plays well, that's a pretty good deal right there. That's already most of, you know, a really good quality build, you know. I will say another thing to look out for is what all are you getting in the value, in your budget? What all are you getting in that? Let's say you have a $500 budget, right? You pick up one of these PCHs, either in an OM or a Dread, and you will get a solid top, which is important. Solid tops, this is where most of the guitar's tone is coming from, is the top, right? Laminate sides and back, this is great laminate sides and back here, not heavy, you know. I will say that's another thing that can kind of bog down a build is sometimes that laminate wood can be a little heavier too. So this one's set up pretty nicely, you know. I would say it's not super hard to push down the strings here. One extra bonus you get here, bone nut, bone saddle. Now, why would I want a bone nut and a bone saddle as opposed to plastic? Well, I think that it transmits the sound quite a bit better. Bone is a much more dense material, and it's the only thing that these strings are resting on to transmit all of the sound in here and then out the sound hole. So having a good material on your nut and saddle right here, that's very important. And a lot of people make different materials for that. You have plastic, that's great, that's perfectly fine, it's inexpensive. But I think that something like bone, or even like a new bone, which is a synthetic material that kind of emulates bone, very dense material, it can emulate that sound quite well too. I think that, again, you get better resonance, you get better tone overall, and you get better volume when you have a more dense material that these bits right here are made out of. Pins also, sometimes, you know, that can make a difference as well. On this particular one, you do get a bone nut, bone saddle, plastic pins, but also a gig bag. Are you getting a gig bag or a case with it? Do you have money in your budget to get a gig bag or a case with the guitar if it doesn't come with one? Those are all important questions to ask. You know, see what they have as far as gig bag options go, because a lot of them will start at around $30. Hard shell cases can go anywhere up to like $1,800 for even some of these Caltons up here. I mean, it's anywhere in between, guys, you know? I mean, you literally can get anything. So ask the questions. Does this come with a gig bag? Does this come with a case? What are your case options for this? Because that is super important. Protecting this is just going to keep this nicer for longer, okay? So, value, budget, all important things. Obviously, you're going to have a budget when you shop around, so just make sure you know what all you're getting in your budget. Now, as far as accessories go, some things that I would definitely recommend you include: humidifiers. Humidifiers are extremely important. This is literally one of the main reasons your warranty might not be covered, is because you didn't take care of the humidity. That's a huge deal. If you don't want your guitar to crack, whoops, if you don't want your guitar to warp or get messed up over time, you're gonna want to keep track of the humidity. Now, most places are gonna have some humidity options out there. If they don't have them, you can order them online. You can order them from us. There are lots of options out there. You can even make your own even. But it's very, very important that you keep track of it, but also have a way to know what the humidity is in your case for your guitar. These are great options because it'll keep it at around 45 to 50% automatically. It'll safely add it, safely take it away if it needs it. This is a new thing that we just got from Music Nomad. This is a sponge, a nice high density sponge that's in there. Will hold moisture for a long time. Don't have to re-wet it as often, but it has a hygrometer in there as well. So that's very important, knowing where your guitar is at with humidity, because warranties are all very, very important to keep in mind, which does bring me to one of the last points that I have here is Warranty and return policy, okay? You really need to make sure and ask the salesperson, ask us if it's us, you know, whoever you're dealing with, even if it's the manufacturer themselves, ask what the warranty is. Because if something were to go wrong that is not your fault, it is likely covered in the warranty. There is going to be fine print on that too, though. So make sure you read all of the warranty information that they give you, any warranty information they have on their website. That is all super, super important things. Now, I will guarantee most all of them are going to say, we do not cover humidity damage or lack of humidity damage. Almost all of them will say that. And that's why we push humidity so much, is because it is extremely important that you keep them in that spot, 45 to 50%. You know, I mean, that's the best way to keep your guitar at its best health, okay? So, return policy. Now, that's a very important thing too. If you're buying a guitar for someone else, there's a good chance they might not like it, you know? If you didn't ask the right questions to the person you're buying it for, or if it was kind of an impulse buy, they might not like it, right? So it's important to know what your options are as far as returns go. For instance, our return policy, we give you 14 days, okay? Whether we're shipping it out to you, whether you're buying it from the store here, you get 14 days, okay? From when you get it. Now, I think that that's more than enough time to realize if you like or don't like something. You know, you've had enough time with it to really decide whether that's something that's going to stick with you or not. Now, other people might not have that, okay? Some people might give you only a week. Some people might even give you a few days. But it's important to know what those options are and know that you can return it just in case you aren't happy or the person you're buying it for isn't happy. So I think those are some of the most important things. I want to look at my list here. Did I miss anything? I wrote down a list. I took notes on this, guys. I want you to know this is important stuff. And it is very close to Christmas. So, you know, I want you guys to be able to, you know, buy a great instrument for your person that you're buying it for, or for yourself. That's okay to buy guitars for yourself. I'm not going to judge you. None of us here will judge you. What you got, Hinckley? Oh, yeah. Good call, good call. Now, guys, I will say, if you have any questions on any of the talking points we went over today, I know I kind of ramble quite a bit, and sometimes it can be hard for me to keep track and keep focused on talking points because I get distracted. But if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. We will answer them. We go through all of our comments. Feel free to call us too. I'm here all the time. Corey's here all the time. Tyler's here all the time. We are happy to answer any questions you have. If we don't have the answer, we will find the answer. I promise that. So I do want to just quickly go over a couple of things we're working on here. So we've been working on a few things here to look out for. We're working on some cool little packs here, some stocking stuffers here. So this will just kind of give you a sneak peek. We're doing a $25, $50, and $100 stocking stuffer. So you'll be able to come in and just grab one. You'll be able to just come in and grab a stocking full of some good stuff. Now, we're going to do it for banjo, we're going to do it for mandolin, we're going to do it for guitar. I have a sneak peek at the guitar one I was putting together. I can just quickly show you. I won't go through everything, but I'll give you just a good overview of what all you're getting here. Should be able to cover, now you get the option, you don't get both, you get either or here, okay? Keep that in mind because that's important. Some of you guys like mediums, some of you like lights. That's a good deal right there. You get that in the $100 pack, that's almost half the budget right there. Look at that, nice capo, everything you need to get started out. Now that's gonna be a good thing for just about anyone, I would say. You know, if you have a guitar player in the family as a friend or anything like that, you're struggling to know what they might want or need, get them one of these. I mean, if they already have this stuff, I guarantee they'll probably like having an extra because us guitar players and musicians, we always want extras, guys. That's just how it is. We just have always been that way, right? I mean, how many guitars do you have, Corey? 6, 8, 10, 2? Corey has one guitar. He's the outlier here. Trent, how many guitars do you have? 15. 15? I have probably not. If we're counting non-working guitars and projects, gosh, I genuinely have no idea. I might be in the 15s as well, maybe. I don't know. Tyler, how many guitars do you have? Right now, only about 4. Only 4? That's still a lot. I mean, that's more than a lot of people have. But the point I'm trying to make here is, even if they have some of these things, they will likely like the extras, because you're probably going to lose this capo at some point, guys. Let's be honest. I've lost capos. I've lost picks. I've lost all kinds of stuff. I haven't lost any guitars. That's one thing I haven't lost, which is nice. But again, if you're struggling to find something for the mandolin player, the banjo player, the guitar player in your life or in your circle, these might be a great gift option, guys. You can just come in and grab one, or, you know, I think we might make them available for order too. If you guys out there have any requests or anything like that, we'll likely make these available online as well. So I hope that helps, guys. Again, I know I ramble, so if you have questions or something that I didn't go over that you just want our opinion on, feel free to comment on the video. Feel free to call us too, guys, because we are literally a phone call away. We are an email away. We check all our emails. We try our very best not to miss phone calls. So you'll likely catch us and hopefully get your questions answered, guys. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope I covered everything. And I hope you guys find some great instruments out there for your people or for yourself. So have a great one, and we'll see you tomorrow for Shop Talk, right? I hope. All right, we'll see you then, guys. Have a good one.